Hola.
Oh, wait, how do you say hello in Russian?
I don't
Awesome.
know.
I feel like they might have said that on. I learned one word when I watched Sex and the City because she's like dating this Russian. Okay, she's dating the Russian ballet dancer guy, Mikhail Baryshnikov or whatever. He's like a real actual guy. But anyway, playing himself or whatever. I can't really remember. Maybe his name's a little different, it's the character, but yeah,
I
and then
just
she's
looked
like
it up.
asking, what?
How you say hello?
Oh, how do you say it? Does is it no?
It's привет.
Okay, Privyet. Oh. Well, it's
Almost
funny
like,
because she's getting her coochie wet, and she asks the girl how to say thank you, and the girl goes, Spasiba, and then the girl like rips her hair off. Then she goes, Ooh, Spasiba. You are listening to Castles Uncrypted. I'm
and I'm
Alanna.
Kelsey.
We're still your hosts, and as Kelsey was just pointing out to me pre-show, we have made it to episode
Yeah.
6. Yay!
If we make it to episode 7, we'll, what, they say like 3/4 of podcasts don't make it past episode 7?
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that, but I think we're okay. We just made plans for like
Yeah.
11, so I think we're stuck in it
I
now.
I do my notes. I don't think I told you this. I do my notes out of order. So, like, I sometimes am researching like 2 episodes ahead. Like when I told you that this episode was all ready and stuff, I think on like Thursday, when I was like, yeah, it's all good to go. I'm researching the next episode. And then I was like finalizing those
Yeah,
notes. And then I was like, okay. And then I was like, I should check how many pages I have. I clicked into it and I was like, oh my God, I have nothing. I was like, why did I think this was done? Like, and I had moved on to the next episode fully. Yeah.
I have 0 pages.
Yeah. Well, I had half of what I have
No.
right now. That's all I had.
Uh, yeah, sometimes you feel like you're near the end, and then you're like, well, no, there's more story to
Yeah. So I was
tell.
up until like 10:30 last night,
Sorry.
like just frantically Googling random stuff that I could throw in that was like per the topic. I went through 15 pages of Google results on my case and realized there was literally nothing else I could add to my case. It was all the same regurgitation. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you're like, okay, let's
Yeah.
wrap this up.
Wrap this up, put a bow on it,
Yeah.
and record
Okay.
it.
I know it's like, don't tell my boss, but I was trying to multitask at work, and sometimes I'll be editing because I can listen to podcasts at work, and that's how I've been listening to so many since COVID started, where before I didn't feel like I ever had the opportunity to. My commute wasn't as long for one thing, and I didn't do the same position where now I can just, listen to them at work. And but so yeah, I've definitely worked on some case notes
Yeah.
and pick those
Yeah.
up on company
Yeah.
time. But it's okay because I was doing work too. Oh, and I had a test at work this week and I got 95 out of 100. So then my boss bought me a London
That's
fog.
awesome. Yeah, I'm happy you did
Thanks.
so well.
I was like, oh, you didn't have to do that, but thanks, bud. That's really nice. He was like
Yeah,
proud.
that's cool. Yeah. I'm
So that's what's new with us.
yeah,
No.
I'm gonna go first. Before I forget, if you haven't listened to or joined our Patreon yet, we have a Patreon exclusive that's a bonus episode about secret government projects that is really fun, funny, and you definitely want to listen to. So head over to our Patreon.
Yeah, I was just gonna add it's fun, funny, and fucked up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know my parents listen to this sometimes. They know I swear. My mom says I have the mouth of a sailor, longshoreman. But yeah, it's really, really good. We want some, Patreon peeps, as no offense, but to our podcasting service, but we're Canadian, and outside of the US, you can't get any sort of sponsorships on your podcast. So it's like, if we want to put anything back into it, like, yeah, we definitely just encourage you to head on over to Patreon, because we really appreciate any little bit that helps.
Yeah. And editing and stuff like that is good, but we apologize. There's been like a few in our last couple episodes where it seems like the program we're using to record has been like overlapping our audio. So one of us will be answering a question that gets asked a few seconds later or at the same time as it's being answered. And we don't realize that's happening until after the fact when we're editing, because that's not at all happening when we're recording. So we do apologize, because I know from my experience listening to the last couple episodes that has happened a handful of times in each episode. So we're going to try and keep like pauses maybe a little bit longer so we can edit them out later. And hopefully that kind of resolves it, because it didn't happen when we were first recording. So we don't know what's causing it right now, but we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, because with the Patreon episode, it happened a bit, and our first recording session was like a 2-hour chunk. So we thought maybe it had to do a little bit with that, but we're learning, so we're gonna try and puzzle things out, and thanks for bearing with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So continuing on, we are episode 6, and we're covering Russian true crime.
Yeah.
Woo!
And I know there's going to be at least one listener that's excited about that, and that's my sister.
Who I jokingly said to Alanna when we were recording earlier that we are doing Russia for Ressa.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was supposed to get her help with the pronunciation, but I haven't had a chance yet, so hopefully we're just gonna do our best. Sorry.
We're gonna wing it.
I mean, I heard some of the names pronounced when I listened to, a podcast about mine, but some of them I just don't know.
Yeah, mine did have a couple podcasts that I could have listened to, but the sites that they were on, I couldn't access. So that kind of made me sad, but it probably would have been a regurgitation of what I have anyway, because everything else was.
Oh, you couldn't access them? Yeah, well, it's hard to say. It could have been better, but you'll never know, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For mine, my case takes place over 100 years ago. So I have a very, very extremely brief kind of context of kind of what was happening in Russia at the time. From that I am pretty sure I got from Wikipedia or something.
Some site that would just sum it up without getting too heavy into the politics minutia.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about like wars going on. I didn't want to talk about that kind of stuff, because that could have that's a whole nother podcast. Yeah, it's from Wikipedia, the history of Russia. So here's some copied and pasted paragraphs I will now read to you.
Perfect.
So, what Russia was like at the time. So this is great context. It's leading up and kind of overlaps with the time period of my cases.
Okay.
So Russia's population growth rate from 1850 to 1910 was the fastest of all major powers except for the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, I found that kind of surprising.
Yeah, that's
So,
pretty neat.
yeah. Between 1850 and 1900, Russia's population doubled, but it remained primarily rural individuals well until the 20th century.
Ooh, bunch of farmers and crofters just no, what do they call them in Russia? I don't remember now, but definitely a bunch were wiped out after a while, so that was not cool. But
Oh, yeah. So,
damn, that's a lot of babies.
yeah. And the southern Ural Mountains.
Oh, good old Ural Mountains.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by 1890, Russia had about 32,000 kilometers of railroads and 1.4 million factory workers, most of whom worked in the textile industry.
By 1930?
1890.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
so now they're moving from like farmers and stuff in the 1890s and going into factory work and stuff like that.
Wow, okay.
And
Boomtown.
yeah, so this leads me to my case. Have you ever heard of Madame Popova?
No, and it's a lady. That's interesting.
Yeah, she is a very interesting lady who I am very happy to tell you about.
Ooh, I wonder if Russ has heard of her.
Um, I'm
She
not
never,
sure.
she never guesses your cases correctly, but she has guessed each of my true crime cases just based on me saying like, "Oh, it's the biggest serial killer in uh Atlantic Canada," or whatever I said for the monster of the Miramichi.
Oh,
And then for hotel ones, she guessed mine, and all she had to go on was the fact that it was a hotel one, and she guessed my damn case. And I was like, I
yeah,
had never heard of it before.
yeah.
Okay.
So, um, when we post this to our website, unfortunately, I will not be able to include a picture of Madame Popova because
Okay.
this takes place in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and there is no actual confirmed picture of her. Um, However, I do have some newspaper articles that were written in 1909 that I'll read a little later that do have sketches of her, so I will be including those.
Oh, like courtroom sketches?
Kind of. Or her,
Okay.
like, quote unquote, in the act of what I'm going to tell you about now.
There was one of those about the witch I talked about in Witches, but it was like, here she's depicted as a crone, but she probably was a young woman. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
that's accurate. Yeah.
So,
I'm
her
ready.
name, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm
All
sorry.
right. So, it is Alexei Katerina Popova, aka Madame Popova.
Popova. Okay.
Popova. Yeah. So, Madame Popova um, her age is actually unknown. Don't know how old she is. I would guess she was probably in her 50s um, when she was caught.
Okay.
And Madame Popova operated a murder for hire service in Russia that specialized in liberating married women from cruel husbands for a small, minimal fee.
Oh shit. This
So
is
she is,
starting to sound a little familiar.
yeah,
That okay.
so she is a contract killer or a hitman, hit person.
Hit person. Must be
Yeah,
politically correct. All right.
yeah.
Black Widow.
So,
No, that she's not killing her own husbands, you said. You said other
no.
husbands. Okay. Okay.
So little is known about the early life of Madame Popova, but it is believed that she was born in Samara, southwest of the country of Volga Federal District around the mid 1800s.
Okay.
She was married according to newspapers at the time, and it was described as an unhappy marriage that led to her to the idea of women's liberation, a cause that at the time was not widely recognized, making her an early advocate for women's liberation in Russia.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind that.
Yeah. She had a unique way of going about it, but
the methods, yeah, maybe a little questionable.
So, as well as her own marriage, Popova was also distressed by the marriages around her with other local women, and she believed that many women in these marriages were treated as peasants held captive by brutish husbands, and this eventually led to her to start her infamous business in which she volunteered an inexpensive lethal remedy.
Inexpensive. Ooh, she knows how to appeal to her market.
Yeah. Sometimes she didn't even ask for money. She literally did it for free. Like,
Oh, that's kind of lovely.
right? Like, I
If
don't know how to feel about her.
Well, I guess it depends if they're like, yeah, really being abused or very badly mistreated, then it is a little bit different than straight out murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she advertised her new business to unhappy wives, and she charged a fee to free unhappy wives from their tyrant husbands. And the crimes against their wives could range anywhere from cheating to abuse or even just wives being fed up with their husbands.
Yeesh. That's morally ambiguous. Yes.
Yeah. Popova would take a small fee from her employers and acquaint herself with the husbands and then discreetly poison their food or drink with arsenic. Some things I read kind of insinuated that she did this by like meeting up with them in like hotels and stuff, and other things said that she would invite um or she would get invited over for tea by the wives as like a friend of the wife. Um, and then while they were having tea, she would supply the wife with poison that the wife would slip into the husband's drink.
You think that one would be a better method of disguising it than the
Yeah.
first option? Yeah. Because, like, yeah, if you're the last one seen going into a room with a man that's always like found dead, like in a hotel, that's not gonna track very good.
Yeah. So Popova remained in business successfully for 30 years, ranging from approximately 1879 to 1909.
Holy shit.
Yeah. She remained in business until one of her employers started to feel guilty about hiring Popova to kill her husband. And yeah. She started by sending the police letters confessing what she had paid Popova to do. And after numerous letters with no results, she decided to go and give the statement directly to the police.
Holy wow. She was really committed to that. She's like, they're not listening. I will make them listen.
Yeah. So, upon her confession and statement, police descended on Popova while she sat in her mansion and they arrested her. News of the arrest of the notorious female wholesale killer reached the public and they became disgusted by her acts and they formed an angry mob of several hundred people outside of her place. And as the police transported her, the mob insisted that due to the magnitude of her crimes, that she should be handed over to them with threats of burning her at the stake. So, throwback to the witches episode.
That escalated quickly. They're
Yeah.
like, we don't like you being a vigilante, but we would like to treat you the way we would like to treat you without the police getting involved. Not saying
Yeah.
we're going to be vigilantes, but we want some mob justice. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
The situation got so aggressive that police with weapons drawn had to keep the mob at bay, and they had to call in reinforcements from soldiers that came and then transported her because the police could no longer handle transporting her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Call the Russian military.
Yeah. So after she had been taken to the prison, Madame Popova made no effort to conceal the fact that she had been a wholesale murderess. I love the word murderess.
Countess, why I'm a murderess.
Yeah, I'm a murderess in the 1800s. Love it. So she declared that she was justified in her work, for that only persons she killed were men who had abused their wives, and that her murdering them had saved the women from further misery.
I mean, it's possible that was true in one or two of the cases, but it's a bit of a blanket statement.
Yeah, to say like all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So while in court, Madame Popova confessed her actions and explained that she was engaged in killing men who treated their partners as slaves, and that her actions were acts of charity. She defended herself further by acknowledging that she did in fact cause the deaths, but she was not a murderer since she used poison and the deaths were slow and natural, with most victims dying without knowledge that they had even been poisoned.
That's some crazy logic, man.
Because I use slow acting poison, I shouldn't be found guilty.
You might have thought it was just like a normal heart attack.
Yeah.
Now, was she representing herself?
Unfortunately, I couldn't find very
Yeah.
much information than what my next two paragraphs say, and then the article I have translated from German is going to tell us.
You translated it from German?
No, I found somebody that posted the article and then had translated it from German
It
to.
was the way you said it. That I have translated from German. Sorry.
That I have in my notes translated from German.
Sorry. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that great.
Oh, my brother says I should keep embarrassing Rain. She used to call it Germish.
German.
All right.
All right. Are you ready for the bombshell?
Yeah.
Popova claimed that she had killed a total of around 40 people.
Oh.
But due to her long reign of murdering, the total is reported at being around a massive 300 victims.
Oh.
Yeah, she was busy in her 30 years.
So she tried to say it was 40,
Yeah.
but they figure it couldn't have been.
Yeah, 40 people in 30 years isn't very much.
Yeah, I guess.
Especially when you're looking at like poisons and she's not disposing of them. And in the 1800s, you could easily pass that off as like natural causes and stuff. So they think because she was operating for 30 years that she would have at least a couple hundred victims.
And no one ever connected them together. Wow.
No, until this one like people maybe had their suspicions. Obviously, the women that were in contact with her had to have heard from somewhere, but
Because it's now that you've told me more about it, like from the name, I really didn't think I'd ever heard anything about it. But now I'm wondering if I have. And did the region become known as a bad place to go? Or am I just making that up in my head? Like where she lived, her town? Were people suspicious?
no, not that I found anything about.
That's just crazy. That's just, I can't
Yeah.
get over that. Wow.
So, she used, or she killed by using poison, sometimes her own hands, sometimes a weapon, or hiring an assassin. I couldn't really find anything about the supposed assassin, really, but what I did find online is people are under the assumption that in her saying she was hiring an assassin for these women, that she was actually charging double fees from these women. So she'd be hiring like, she'd be like, okay, I need money to pay the assassin to kill your husband, and then I'm collecting a fee for getting the assassin to kill your husband, so she'd like double charge them.
Okay,
But
because otherwise that would just be like you'd just be the middleman and you would be lowering your cut considerably to be paying out an assassin.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it seems like it's the assumption that she was quote unquote hiring herself.
Yeah, she's the assassin.
Yeah,
The assassin is me.
yeah,
With a wig or I don't know. What kind of
in a hat and some sunglasses.
I was gonna say, yeah, what kind of disguises did you even have back then? They were, glasses were much more expensive, sunglasses less common. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pantyhose, just no, putting that around your head. She just made herself look like an old Russian lady by wrapping, layers around her head.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you
So
said she was in her 50s by the time she was actually caught. I mean, that is getting
I'm
on.
gonna assume so. That was just 100% my assumption,
Okay.
because like if you assume that in the 1800s she probably got married fairly young, so probably at the latest would have been in her like 20s, and then if she operated for 30 years she would have been about 50. I don't think she would have been doing this like into her 60s or 70s or 80s.
You never know. Did she kill her husband, though?
I couldn't find anything saying if she did or not.
Must have.
Yeah.
Didn't get to escape.
So, in her own defense, Madame Popova told her captors that she had never killed a woman.
Wow. Okay. Good for you.
Yeah. Many of the women who hired Popova were charged and found guilty of being accomplices to murder, but by the time the trials came about and came to court, many of the women had either died or had left for the United States. So, yeah.
That's not good for the prosecution.
No. So the trial and deliberation were quick. She was found guilty of the murders. I couldn't find how many. I'd say probably at least the 40 she had fully confessed to. And she remained unrepentant as she stood before a firing squad. And
Ooh.
her execution took place the same year in St. Petersburg in 1909.
You mean they don't have tigers tear you apart in Russia? It's not their options. Firing squad, tiger death. I don't know.
That'd be pretty crazy. I will say in researching this, there is actually there's a different Madame Popova that apparently was in Russia as well, I think, that was a in like one of the nurses or caretakers or something that would murder her patients. So it was really hard researching this because she was also referred to as Madame Popova and was about the same time period. So,
Good Lord.
yeah, so this one you had kind of to put like Madame Popova, the 1800s serial killer, even though she was like.
Oh, or if you put her first name, or did they have the same first name?
No, if you look up Alexei Katerina Popova, there is a famous painter from Russia that it just brings up a bunch of artwork and pictures of this artist. So,
Oh, damn. It does make it harder to research something. Like, say I'll be looking at a Wikipedia article and you're like, okay, there's some citations here. Like, I want more information. And then you're like, it's like, this article is in Russian. And you're like, damn it.
yeah.
Yes, I'll have to take your word for it.
Yeah, like I said, I clicked through about 15 full pages of Google results trying to be like, okay, can I find any information other than these 2 pages or page and a half I've compiled? And I literally couldn't. I looked for hours.
You didn't look for like a podcast on her? I'm sure there's other, because
No, when I looked her up, that was the only podcast I found was the one I couldn't access.
Oh,
I couldn't find like YouTube videos that were more than like a minute long. Like nothing.
crazy.
Yeah.
Weird, because I don't know. I thought maybe I had heard of her before, but now I gotta go back and see if maybe it was another person like the other one you talked about, maybe.
Yeah. What I did to find her is I went to Murderpedia, clicked on female, and then clicked on Russia, and then literally just clicked on who had the top 4 that had the most murders. It was like, these seem like interesting people.
Okay, because when you when you look up Russian true crime on Spotify, there was some cool ones came up that I was like, I almost went to ask you about them because I was like, this one's called like I think there was one called like the chessboard killer, and I was like, ooh. But then I was like, I didn't even want to have an inkling of which one you were doing, so I was just like, I'm just gonna steer clear of like maybe serial killers because I think that's what Kelsey's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's some cool ones that may be worth looking into. We should revisit.
yeah, the chessboard killer, whoever that is, like immediately with the popularity and how much I like the Queen's Gambit, and I know Russia is huge into chess. It's like a whole thing. That would be really cool.
Yeah, isn't that a cool name?
Yeah.
I didn't look into it because I didn't want to know yet because I was like, oh, maybe I'll do someone else. But yeah, we'll have a part 2.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll revisit all of these countries we do many times.
Yeah.
So, on to this article I mentioned earlier. This was written on April 3rd, 1909, entitled Prolific Man-Hating Murderess. And it is German, translated to English, so I can't take credit at all for this translation.
Right. You like the word murderous, though. Are you sure you didn't translate it? Just kidding.
Yeah. All right. So, this does have like a bit more information that I couldn't back up with anything else I read. So that's why I kept this article in here. Some of it's a repeat, some of it has new information.
Okay.
So it says a huge trial will soon come before the Russian courts for discharge. So the prehistory of this process is the following. In the southern Russian town of Samara lived for decades a certain Katerina Popova, who was known for her wealth. It was said that she acquired her riches by inheritance, buying and dealing in sultry herbs.
Sultry. Okay.
For some time, however, the authorities have been receiving anonymous letters, all from the same hand, which accused Popova of killing dozens of men over the years. However, this charge seems so unlikely to the authorities that it was no use saying anything.
What? Sure.
Yeah.
Dismissal.
When the anonymous spokeswoman realized that nothing was being done about her denunciations, she went to the police on her own accord and pleaded guilty to having poisoned her husband with the help of Popova. An investigation was made and Miss Popova was detained. In court, she admitted without prompting that she had poisoned over 40 men over 3 decades. She stated, however, that she had done these acts in justified charity.
It was way over 40 men.
Yeah.
Almost 400. No.
Well, yeah, that's what they put on her, but she's not agreeing to that number.
Yeah. She's downplaying it. You know how girls downplay their numbers. How many men have you murdered?
But when you think about it realistically, over 30 years, the number 300 isn't even that bad, because if you say that was even 10 a year, that's like not even 1 a month, which if you're poisoning people, I feel like isn't that often, ...
It's like a part-time job. It doesn't take up that much time.
Yeah. But
it's probably not as involved as fucking podcasting.
Yeah. And it's not like unreasonable to think it could be well over 40, because if it was only 40, then that would be like less than 2 a year.
Right.
Which doesn't seem like only 2 women a year she would come across that would want her help.
And then she lives in this big, wealthy house. Yeah.
Yeah. So she had only acted against men who treated their wives like slaves. Therefore, she was not guilty of murder since she did not cause any pain to the poisoned person.
What?
Yeah. Again,
Okay.
this is translated from the article. That might have been lost in translation. It doesn't seem to really make sense.
Yeah. Kind of like what you said, or she said earlier, though. Like her crazy. Well, they did. I
Justifying.
didn't kill them, but then sometimes I did kill them with a weapon, but most of the time it was the poison that killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had given powders to the wives who had complained to her under consideration of the circumstances by which the men would die a slow and quote-unquote natural death without noticing the effect of the poison.
Well, their hearts sure noticed.
Yeah. So for the most part, she was admitted to the poisoning using a metallic dust, and that she said this was her secret weapon.
Oh. I
So
thought it was arsenic. Huh.
yeah, that's why I included this article, because I thought that was interesting that they suddenly said it wasn't arsenic. And then this states that these sharp metal particles placed in a meal would have lodged somewhere in the intestines, causing inflammations that would have led to death. So now it's like not really poison. She's like putting metal shards in their food. I don't know.
Right. It's a way of causing internal bleeding. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as bad as, if not worse than, poisoning.
Yeah. I don't feel like when she stated earlier that they wouldn't even have known that they were poisoned. I'm pretty sure your stomach and eating metal shards and having them lodged in your intestines would be noticeable. But all right.
Yeah, you're gonna notice if you start hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
At least that's true of that happened to a character on Oz, the prison show, that like Christopher Maloney was on.
Oh, I haven't watched that.
With HBO, baby. A lot of penises in that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one guy, his enemy worked in the kitchen. And so that inmate was putting ground glass into this other inmate's food until one day he just started to bleed so bad internally that he bled out of his mouth, and I think he pretty much died pretty soon after that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gross.
So, for this apparent metallic dust filled with metal shards, there were no antidotes or the like to her method. She boasted of having fatally delivered every unworthy member of the male sex to the afterlife.
It's got away with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just thought this sentence was strange. The excitement in Samara is unimaginable. Yeah, they were mobbing and trying to kill her. I wouldn't explain that as excitement.
Yeah, that could be a mistranslation.
Yeah. So many widows have already fled, and it is believed that a large proportion of the widows' wives in Samara have been customers of Popova. And the police have made extensive arrangements so that the criminal does not practice lynching. So that was, again, for her safety. I think that was like a bit of a fub in translation somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the police made arrangements so that she was not lynched by a mob.
Great. But their cemeteries are full of men.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
my next section, I can't remember who this person was. So I have two things that were kind of inspired by Madame Popova. The first one is a poem that somebody wrote. They wrote it for a project assignment that they had, and I guess I can't remember who the author is. I have the source for it, but they said that they didn't end up being able to use this because they went over their word limit. So,
Oh no.
again, this is a poem. I'm not good at reading poetry. So, here is me just robotically reading poetry.
It's okay. I don't go to, what is it, poetry readings anyway.
Yeah, I'm not Shakespeare, like a Shakespearean actor. I'm not some
Well,
English
damn it, I'm
teacher.
shutting this shit off.
Yeah, this isn't what I tuned in for. Right.
All right, I'm buckled.
It is entitled Madame Popova, because of course it is. It says, Madame Popova heard, with heart breaking beneath the rigid-faced guise, the women before her who spoke, through tears aching, of bruised and swollen black eyes. When her tale was all told, Madame Popova rose. With pity and fury she said, no more will you hurt. Take courage, dear lady. Your troubles will lie with the dead.
Oh, that was
Madame,
over the word limit? Okay.
no, this is less than halfway through.
Oh. All right.
Madame Popova invited the lady and her quote-unquote troubles to an afternoon tea, and into the cup of the latter she slipped several drops of arsenic. Then the lady thanked God to be free.
Wow.
300 such incidents, decades later, blindfolded, face turned to the sky, said Madame Popova, I do not regret the liberty of any tyrannized wife.
Whatever, yeah.
Thus guiltless she passed from waking to rest, the firing squad put a hole in her breast, and she breathed not again. That was the end of Madame Popova's life.
Okay. It's so to the point.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and that was the end of my poem. No.
The end.
It was good though. It had some good imagery. I don't know.
Yeah. So, more recently, I forgot when this came out, but Madame Popova has also inspired a revenge comic book series called Life After Death. The first episode, or first issue of Popova, is set in modern-day New York, where a public figure named Irma Rozanov runs a charity for women's equality. The nonprofit is also a front where she gathers intelligence for an underground war against male oppressors. As the mysterious Madame, she leads a covert troop, of female assassins who abide by her strict ideological code. They are not allowed to kill women. They may sleep with men, but only for sex. Love is out of the question. These women... What?
Sorry. I was going to say, and the first rule about Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club.
The first rule of Fight Club is they don't kill women. These women are driven to the breaking point, and says the author Valdez, there's been patriarchy as far back as recorded history. So, as Wine and Crime would say, fucking patriarchy.
Yeah. The matriarchies of the world more. You see them here and there. It's like on this island, the women are in charge, and you're like, yay!
Yeah.
How's that going? Yeah, I've heard about it one or two. But anyway, yeah, I know what you mean.
So my last little section that I thought was interesting and I included to make my thing not half an hour long. I couldn't find more information about the actual case. So yeah. I have something about the psychology of a hitman that I thought was kind of interesting.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so hitmen perform a service that is unimaginable to most people, with some carrying out dozens of hits over their careers. One famous mob killer, Richard the Iceman Kuklinski, may have boasted as many as 250 victims. Can I just
Wow.
preface that with Madame Popova wins?
Yeah, no doubt.
And this goes on still. Killers for hire differ from serial killers, most of whom take lives to satisfy some inner urge. Hitmen are in it for the money, and the emotions are not involved. And it's noted that serial killers typically experience an emotional cooling off period between their murders. Professionals or hitmen, however, are different.
They gotta be professional.
Yeah, hitmen do not experience or require a cooling off period between their murders because of the unemotional or pragmatic nature of their killings.
Yeah, they're so removed from it. It's not personal.
Yeah, which is perfect for the segue. A hitman or a contract killer will most likely have the ability to depersonalize their victim, to think of them merely as a target or a number rather than a human being. According to a number of psychologists and criminologists, when contract killers aren't as successful in switching off their emotions, their jobs tend to not go to plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Emotions aren't good in that job.
yeah. In my research, I also found that hitmen are categorized into 4 categories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had no idea. So, Birmingham City University criminologists identified 4 main types of hitmen: the novice, the dilettante, the journeyman, and the master.
I think it might be dilettante, like French. I'm not sure.
Dilettante? Okay.
Think. That's interesting. So that sounds like yeah, they use the term journeyman when you're referring to like the types of professions like electrician, anything where you
Yeah.
yeah, like a community college type of. Well, that's crazy. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Do
So I
they have
have
a
a
union? No, I'm just kidding.
what?
Do they have a union?
Hitmen benefits.
I'm like, no, that's stupid. Moving on.
I have a little bit about each of them, and then I'm done.
Okay.
So the novice are the most inexperienced, and because of this are often caught quickly due to either mistakes or bragging about being a hitman.
Oh no, honey, no. Dummy.
Yeah. Dilettante? Dilettante, you said? Dilettante, hitman.
I guess it
Where
depends if it's like from French or from Latin or Spanish, whether you
I
pronounce
don't know.
how you pronounce the E at the end. I don't know.
Dilettante,
Sure.
hitman were described as likely the oldest of the 4 types and likely only dabbling in the practice rather than starting it as a profession. And they may be trying to solve a discrete financial problem and may not take to contract killing with much enthusiasm or skill and have just kind of fallen into it. And they're unlikely to have a criminal background and therefore unlikely to be able to get a gun or know how to get a gun.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That sounds like your very cheapest version you could hire, or like you say, they fell into it. So they're
Yeah.
probably doing it for their own. Like I watched that show Good Girls, where they're like soccer moms, but then they like rob a grocery store because one of them needs money. I'm sure it's like one of them has a sick
Yeah.
kid, but then like it just keeps snowballing. Yeah.
Yeah. So a journeyman is more experienced than a novice or a dilettante and probably have organized crime connections, but are also likely to have their careers cut short by police because these connections make them easier to identify. The journeyman is a reliable but not essentially exceptional hitman.
Right.
Yeah. And then the last one is the master hitmen are more like or least likely to be caught. One source I found said that they have actually never caught a master hitman. I don't know. Yeah.
These are your John Wicks.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. They're good.
And thus, little research is available on their craft. The team of criminologists said that these contract killers probably have military or paramilitary experience, as well as many as 100 kills under their belts. Also, unlike journeymen, they likely travel from afar to complete their hits, ensuring no local underworld connections put them in police crosshairs.
Yeah.
So
they're very removed.
yeah, in like learning about these four, I really kind of tried to classify Madame Popova for the fun of it, but I couldn't really.
Journeyman. I don't know.
Yeah, but like journeymen are supposed to be like are pretty much like organized crime.
Yeah, no military
Yeah.
background for her. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so it was kind of confusing because they said journeymen and master hitmen are likely to have military experience.
But maybe not always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she'd probably be a journeyman.
Yeah.
Because she's not traveling, she's not, well, if they say they've never, quote unquote, never caught a master hitman, well, they caught her, so.
Exactly.
All right, and that's my case.
I like it.
Madame Popova. Thank you, Murderpedia.
Ladies.
Yeah, lady contract killer. I was like, I love it.
Is that our first female criminal we've covered?
I think so.
Unless you count the mom in the hotel crime you did.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I would say this is our first female criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
Nice. Yay! Very good job. Very good.
Thank you.
It's funny scene. I like it. That's funny. My Russian crime. I can't do an accent. I'm sorry.
Do you want to know Russian?
It'll start to sound terrible, like there's Abby Abominable character from Monsters High that Rain used to like watch.
Oh.
All their characters were like, it was like Frankie Stein. And like the girl was like Cleo, or I don't know, there was a werewolf one. Oh, Claudine. Like claw spelled like claw.
Russian just reminds me, have you ever watched Killing Eve?
No, I hear it's good though.
It's good. It's like, I don't know, it's like a slow burn romance between Eve, the one that works for MI6.
Sandra Oh.
Yeah, and then like Villanelle, and Villanelle like Jodie Comer, I think her actress name is. She's good at like
name. I like that.
Yeah. She's really good at like accents and languages and everything. So like Villanelle as a character speaks like 6 different languages and can switch in just seconds, like halfway through a sentence and stuff. So, but she was like born in Russia.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love a good Russian accent.
Yeah.
And I kind of have a thing for German accents too. What's wrong with me? No.
There's nothing wrong with liking accents.
No, I know. That was probably sounded really offensive. I'm so sorry. I really like my favorite Oiler, the Edmonton Oilers is Leon Draisaitl. He's a talented little cutie little German guy.
Okay, I'll
Love
have to take your word for it. I don't watch sports.
him. Clearly, I watch it for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
He's got all his teeth, guys. Don't picture that kind of Canadian hockey player. And he's German. Anyway, so Russian crimes. My Russian crime.
I'm ready.
For some reason, I prefaced this with a quote from my guy, my character. No, my protagonist.
Okay.
I'm ready. Doesn't matter with who or where, on foot or on horseback, with maces or pole axes, to fight, to first blood or to death. It doesn't matter. I'm ready to fight. Alexander Emelianenko is his name.
His name sounds familiar.
I don't know
last
anymore
name.
because I've now heard it like 20 million times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really common Russian names in this. I feel like they're common because I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a Russian name I've heard. You know?
Okay.
But you may have, because he's an MMA fighter is what it is. I don't know why I'm keeping this under wraps. I don't want to bury the lead here, and there's some crime involved.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know him then. I also don't. Going hand in hand with me not watching sports, I don't watch MMA.
Right. Sometimes we'll watch the UFC fights. Like Pat and I will watch a pay-per-view, especially if you when you could have company over, because like sometimes they're like $60. But then like, yeah, I don't know. I mostly enjoy the crowd energy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what's fun when you go to the games, obviously. All right, so I want to give a shout out to the only podcast I could find about this, or that's how I found out about it, I should say. Yeah, they're called Crime in Sports. It's a podcast hosted by, I just looked up their name, but I'll probably butcher them too. James Pietragallo and Jimmy Wistman. And they have another podcast called Small Town Murder. So like the one guy covered it. I don't know which one. I'm so sorry, but he did a really good job. I looked to see if there was maybe other podcasts about him, but not a serial killer, so maybe he's not as hot in the true crime scene. Maybe my sister won't even know about this case.
Maybe.
But anyway, I also want to say I like they had like a tagline on their website in their bio, and they ended like their little bio thing with like, "But we know what you want," sort of thing, and then it was like, "Shut up and give me murder." Like, I wish I had thought of that. No,
That's awesome.
shut up and give me murder. All right, I'm not gonna do that though. Spoiler: no murder in this. So that's why it's a little lighter, if you will, maybe.
We sidetrack from possible 300 murders to no murder.
But which is kind of funny because his nickname is the Grim Reaper. But the athlete's got to have a nickname, I guess, right?
Yeah.
My favorite wrestler is Roman Reigns, and he's like the big dog, or there's lots of times they have nicknames. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. Especially if your name is as long as some of these Russian guys are. So, Alexander Vladimirovich Emelianenko is a Russian mixed martial artist born on the 2nd of August in 1981 in, damn it, I really wanted to ask Ressa how to pronounce this one. It's spelled like, it looks like it's pronounced Starry Oskal, like starry but with one R. And now I can't stop thinking of it a certain way because on the Crime and Sports podcast, they kept calling it Starry Asshole. So now I really have that stuck in my head. So I'll maybe get some pronunciations from Ressa and then like add them at the end of the episode, like a little corrections if I really, really butcher it. But Starry Asshole, no. Soviet Union. His mother's name was Olga Okay, I got it. I got this. His mother's name was Olga Feodorovna Emelianenko, and she was a teacher. And his father was Vladimir Alexandrovich Emelianenko. Because they just like, it's like they reversed his name and his middle name
Yeah.
from his father's name, first and middle names.
You gotta love
Maybe,
Vladimir and an Olga.
maybe Vich means son of or something, in which case that would make sense if they were like naming, father and then they added the son, and it's like the traditional, you pass down a family name kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
Yeah. So, he was the second youngest of four. He had one older brother, Fedor, and their older sister's name was Maria, and they had one younger brother named Ivan. So both their parents worked, so Alexander spent lots of time after school on his own. They had like neighborhood fights around the neighborhood between the boys and stuff to pass the time for fun.
Okay.
But the neighborhood was pretty rough. I'm thinking they didn't have a whole lot to do in the Soviet Union in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Countries just still were like, is it still going on the Cold War then? Like, I don't know. They're concerned with the space race and stuff like that. I don't think there's a lot of after school programs for these poor young teenagers.
Yeah, they just have to fight each other in the street.
It's Fight Club again. How many times can we mention Fight Club in this episode? All right.
Way too many. More than it deserves.
Oh. Anyway, he once said that they basically had one entire neighborhood fight another entire neighborhood, and he described it as like, we got like 1,000 of our guys, and they got 1,000 of their guys, and then we just came at each other like battle lines, like grabbing sticks and rocks, picking them up as you go to use as weapons and to throw at people.
Wow.
Which, yeah, it was kind of funny because then they were talking like, well, how would you know who was your guys and their guys after the first initial foray? Like, you're just all,
Yeah.
what street do you live on? Oh, I can't beat you up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me take a census. Where do you live? How many people in your household? Grab a colored bandana, everybody.
Well, you'd have to do something. The family was not very well off, so they would often have like leftovers all week, sort of a cabbage soup kind of Charlie bucket thing going on. And he wore like hand-me-down clothing. I mean, they did have 4 kids, right? So
Yeah.
that could make it a little harder. He studied to become an electrician, then he switched studies a few times, and eventually finished studying as an electric welder after he had been, quote, transferred several times to other technical specialties for bad behavior, end quote.
Is he fighting?
I think so. He's an interesting guy. He's definitely got an attitude for sure.
Yeah.
The one class that he transferred to, one of the electrician studies or whatever, they had been the best performing class in the school until he joined the class. They became the worst class, and they never got a celebratory cake after that.
We missed our pizza party because of you.
Well, the teachers had put him in the best class thinking it would like turn him around.
No, it's just gonna bring down the grade average.
Apparently.
Wow.
So he's no dummy.
No,
so
that's kind of on the teachers too for not like either teaching him properly at that point or like having somebody tutor him.
Some disciplinary something. Yeah.
Yeah, like get him a tutor, spend some extra time with him. Like
exactly. I don't know, but his parents split up when he was a teen, and he had little contact with his father after that for the rest of his life. I mean, I shouldn't say that, Brett. of his life, he's still alive. My sentence just said after that. I don't know why I had to add more onto it and start ad-libbing things. Anyway, he started his training at a very early age. His brother Fedor would take him to his own martial arts classes because someone had to kind of look after little brother Alexander. So he would tag along and accompany his brother to his Sambo classes, which apparently in this context, Sambo is a Soviet martial art, a combat sport, and recognized as a style of amateur wrestling.
Oh, okay. So he was like watching his brother do this? He wasn't participating at this point?
I believe so, yes.
Yep.
But he started very early. I don't have the exact age written down, but yeah, he was definitely watching his brother, and then that sparked everything, and then he started.
Well, that makes sense. Like, if an older sibling is doing something and you're like watching them do it, you kind of, whether you like it or not, kind of start learning about it and maybe get like an interest in it. That's pretty common. Yeah.
Yeah. So it starts out good for the brothers.
Yeah.
Is that a little foreshadowing? No.
Oh, God. They're just going to fight each other to the death? Or you said there's no murder. Okay.
No, there's no murder. But he liked fighting so much, he started to secretly take boxing lessons. And he would hide his boxing gloves and other equipment in, I think it's their apartment's large mailbox, because he would tell his mother, I'm going for a walk, because she thought he quit boxing or like he wasn't allowed, and then he would secretly just take his equipment out as he left the house or the abode. I'm not quite sure if it was an apartment or a house, but
No. Okay.
Yeah, he did pretty well. He had begun studying judo and wrestling along with the sambo, and at 16 became a Russian master of sport in judo. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, was he doing like competitions and stuff then?
At this point, I think that one's just like more like a black belt.
Yeah.
So I think probably still student competitions. But I'll talk a little bit about some of the actual fights that he had.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not as much as like the Crime and Sports guys did almost a 2-hour episode, I want to say, because I think they're called Crime in Sport. I think they like the sports almost as much as they like the crime in that one.
Yeah. They have a target
yeah.
audience they're going for that wants to listen to both.
It was really good. I would listen to more of theirs. I think I will.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting. I feel like there's a lot, as long as it's not just like dudes killing their wives.
So in 1999, at the age of 18, he won the European Sambo Championships. Then in 2003, 2004, and 2006, he won the World Combat Sambo Championships. So he's doing all right.
Oh, okay, got some world championships now.
Pathetic. Jesus. Okay, we're good. What the fuck? All right. Yes, he's winning some world championships. That's pretty awesome. In 2010, he beat out his brother Fedor, who had an injured hand from one of his fights, in the Russian Cup of Combat, thus ensuring he could represent Russia in the World Championships again. Because, yeah, his brother was also up for competing in the world. I believe that was for the World Combat Sambo Championships as well.
I sense some tension forming between the brothers.
Because they're in the same field of sport, yeah. Yep. So, Alexander Emelianenko has been quoted as saying, "My punches are like electric trains. If I miss, my opponent would catch a cold." I don't know. It's such a thinker, that one. It's like, what?
Yeah. Catch a cold.
He could have said that so much plainer. I don't know.
Like,
Again, maybe something from Russian to English is making it a little more clunky.
yeah, maybe he punches so fast that like he makes the air around you cold, and then you're gonna catch a cold because you're in cold air. I
Yeah,
don't know.
because those are bullet trains, I think he's referring to, saying the electric ones.
Yeah,
Like the 400 kilometers an hour or something like that they have in like Asia and parts of Europe. But
yeah.
yeah, it's weird. And then the syntax or the grammar of it, my word program wanted to correct it to my opponent will catch a cold.
Oh,
His brother Fedor was and is an amazingly respected fighter as well. According to BleacherReport.com, his brother Fedor is one of the best fighters, quote, on the planet. He was known for his killer submission moves, so that's how he would normally win his fights. And my favorite submission move when I hear it, the term is rear naked choke. It sounds very elaborate to me, but then I'm like, I kind of Googled it, or I clicked on Wikipedia when it says rear naked choke. And then it showed the move, and it was just like, I'm like, oh, okay, so it's like a guy has, a person has his elbow wrapped around the other guy's throat and the other arm's bracing it. It's nothing like super fancy.
okay. Is it like a headlock kind of thing, or like chokehold
Right.
from behind?
It's a type of, I believe you call it just a type of head. Like, that's what I would have called it if I had seen that picture of it. I'd have been like, oh, he's got him in a headlock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Rear naked choke. I couldn't even quite understand its explanation of what naked meant. It was like, I don't know. There's no special uniform needed. It can be applied with regular bare arms. I was like, what? It's okay. I don't know. It was something weird. Like, without the use of a special uniform? I don't know. I didn't get it.
Shouldn't
I did not
that be like everything then?
I really wanted to know what the naked part meant, but my brain couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah. Weird.
Anyway, I'll have to get a sports aficionado to explain it to me.
Yeah.
I'll ask Joe Rogan. I'll ask Joe next time I talk to him.
Sure.
So, Alexander versus his brother Fedor being more of submission moves. Alexander's more of a puncher. He's going to knock you out with a barrage of quick punches to the face and head, and he's known for his speed and striking skills.
Okay.
They shared some similarities, like their love of Sambo. They were both fast, and they both had quite a lot of strength and punching power. Alexander could and did knock opponents out in as little as sometimes 11 to 15 seconds. He knocked out a Brazilian guy named Ricardo Mutant Moraes in 15 seconds. And Ricardo is 6'8" and 270 pounds. I forgot to write down or look up how tall Alexander is. And damn it.
Oh, well.
He's a big dude as well.
Okay. But if you're talking like literally getting like full on punched in the face, just super fast or super hard, I don't think it matters.
How big they are?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can have a little guy that's got a lot of power for sure. Yeah. This guy's really tall that he just punched out the mutant 6'8". He's like, I feel like that's pretty close to 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got knocked out occasionally himself, once by a guy called Mirko Crow Cop. Don't understand that nickname. Filopovic, a Croatian fighter with a crazy effective high kick. He didn't do good with kicks, Emelianenko.
Okay.
Yeah. Kicks seemed to take him down.
Maybe he like was off balance or something.
Yeah. I don't know what Pat always says something like, doesn't matter how tall they are, once you can get them on the ground, then then they're all the same height once they're down or something like that. I am totally like screwing that up, but I'm like, I get that. Like, if you can get them down, whether it's through kicks or whatever, then you have the advantage.
Yeah, if you have good like floor work or whatever.
But just also like, yeah, they might be taller than you, but once they're down, they're not.
Yeah.
Especially if you're up. Yeah. But anyway, after that loss, he won 5 in a row, but then he takes some losses. He wasn't getting the high-profile opponents that he had wanted. He lost to Josh, the baby-faced assassin, Barnett, via submission. I have heard that nickname for a different athlete. It was a hockey player who's the father. So he was in the NHL, but he's the father of a wrestler that we like in my house. His name is Chris Jericho, and he's a Canadian guy. And his father, Ted Irvine, I believe is his name, was in the NHL, and his nickname was the baby-faced assassin.
Wow.
I know. It's crazy. But anyway, after those baby faces, he lost to that baby face. He was assassinated.
Assassinated by babyface.
Which in wrestling, babyface means you're the likable guy, and if you're the heel, you're the asshole character. So I'm not sure if it has the same connotations when used, here. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah,
For
little
like
wrestling.
your character kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The Rock was usually a baby face.
Yeah.
The crowd liked him. They wanted to like him. Who could not like him?
The people's elbow, the people's eyebrow. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No one's gonna really buy that. That's gonna be hard.
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
But yeah.
He was the only wrestler I ever cared about. Was The Rock. I'm so happy he's in movies because I don't watch wrestling anymore, so I still get to see his face.
Right. He is, the epitome of making the leap from that to superstar, like actual superstardom, where people that don't watch wrestling and never have know who the hell The Rock is, and everybody from, like a 13-year-old girl to like an 80-year-old lady thinks he's the cutest and just the best. But anyway. So that's an example of a good athlete that used his athletic platform for good. Remember that.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. But this guy, he then, so he lost a few times. He then has a big hyped up match scheduled. That's the opening match for an event called Affliction in California. It was to be his, why did I change that? It would be his United States debut. He is supposed to face off against another MMA fighter who is well-known, like a well-known MMA fighter, by the name of Paul the Headhunter Buentello. The Headhunter.
Yeah.
I don't like that one as much. It's not as good of a nickname.
No.
But alas, it was not to be. As less than 24 hours before the fight, he was disqualified for failing to meet the California State Athletic Commission licensing requirements. The rumor was...
drugs?
No. It's blood. The rumor was that he had tested positive for hepatitis B. Sorry.
Okay.
I was waiting for some sort of, it's blood.
I can't remember what you get hepatitis B from.
Well, I can't remember exactly, but it is a blood transmissible, which is why that would be inallowable for a fighter, someone who's going to be possibly spilling his blood all over the ring.
Okay.
So I feel like it's not as bad as Hep C, but blood. Yeah.
just reminded me. I can't remember what TV show it is.
Okay.
It may be like
Organic.
Mysteries, or Untold Mysteries of the ER or something. Because I used Mystery Diagnosis probably. Because I also used to be obsessed with that show.
I think that sounds intriguing.
Yeah, I'm actually very good at diagnosing people with like problems when I watch like stuff. It's kind of eerie. Like I recently found forensic files on YouTube and I'm like sitting there and as soon as they start listing symptoms, I'm like, it's probably this. And like 50% of the time I'm right. And they're like, it's some obscure disease that doctors hadn't heard about or thought was gone. And I'm like, I just diagnosed it. Like,
You really missed your calling.
yeah, should have been a doctor. But
Yeah,
anyway.
you remember that kind of stuff from different books we've read and shows
Yeah.
we watched, like Hannibal and the clock thing, that you were like, you don't remember that? And I was like, no.
Yeah, when we were reading The Brain on Fire, I knew she had encephalitis because of her like symptoms and stuff, and I knew that from watching Hannibal, and then I knew that from
Watching House.
No, I didn't ever like House, but I actually told my best friend at the time, her grandfather was having problems and stuff, and I asked him if he had seen a psychologist or anything, and if they had done the clock test and everything, and she said no, and I was like, well, are they doing like spatial awareness kind of things? And she's like, I think so, and she's like, oh, and I said, well, get them to do like the clock test, and he did it, and it was the same way it turned out on Hannibal, where he drew it wrong, and based on that test, they diagnosed him with encephalitis. So.
Because they almost like draw it like they can't see straight or something. They'll like draw this circle, but then all the numbers are like on Hannibal. I think they were all outside of the circle. It was like
it affects like your spatial awareness on one half of your brain. It'll be swollen, so your like optic nerves won't recognize like spatial awareness properly. So when you view things, your brain is like correcting it, but what you're actually drawing is going to be wrong. So like all the numbers will be like in a kind of a jumble on one side of the clock instead of being spread out.
Crazy.
But anyway, sidetrack during my sidetrack.
Sorry, my bad.
I think it was this like mystery diagnosis show, but this woman was, I can't remember what surgery she was getting, but while she was getting her surgery, like obviously like it was probably a heart surgery or something to do with like her stomach, because like her rib cage and everything like was open. And quite open, and her doctor was attacked and stabbed by another doctor while he was performing surgery. Like this other doctor like barged into the operating room and stabbed the doctor operating on her.
The fuck?
Yeah, and the doctor that had been operating on her had like hepatitis or something, because he had recently been volunteering, I think, with like Doctors Without Borders overseas. So he had contracted something. So when he got stabbed, his blood went into her while she was being operated on before they could obviously like restrain the guy. So she ended up contracting it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And the other doctor died?
I can't remember.
Oh my god.
But they like interviewed her, and she had like she has like permanent problems and stuff because of it.
Shit.
Yeah.
I guess she's lucky to be alive. Like, what kind of luck is that?
Mhm. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
Every time I cannot hear a doctor case without being like, really? Of all the kind of people in the world to get murdered, you had to do like a doctor or someone in healthcare.
Yeah.
You know. Ugh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, carry on. He was disqualified because of his blood.
He was disqualified. Exactly. Hepatitis Hep B. So that was the rumor. the California State Athletic Commission had not released any verification of that rumor. It's their policy not to say why someone wouldn't be meeting the requirements. So Emelianenko claims that he missed his required doctor's appointments prior to the fight due to having travel visa issues and not being able to make the doctor's appointments on time. And whether that was true or what the rumor was true, the result was that he wouldn't be allowed to fight in the USA. And that's basically what came of that.
Okay.
Yeah, there was an announcement made that he was being replaced in the fight he was supposed to take place in that ironically named Affliction in California. But he was being replaced by a guy named Gary Goodrich. So, sorry, I will jump a little bit all over the place in this one just because, I don't know, I couldn't find a lot of sources or anything either.
Oh, okay.
So, he takes English courses, and he got a bachelor's degree in economics from the Belgorod State University. So yeah, not a dummy at all. He's got a bachelor's degree now. He's trying to better himself.
Yeah, he sounds like he's doing better than what he was doing in high school.
Yeah, he's out in an upward swing. So he's had some other notoriety, we'll say. At one point, a TV show in Russia implies that he is a Russian nationalist, which equates in Russia to basically a Nazi or a neo-Nazi.
Oh, wow.
So they said that on this Russian TV show. And then an actual neo-Nazi MMA fighter who's admitted to being a supporter of that type of political movement calls him out to provoke a fight. This guy's name is Vyashila Datsik. So he put out a YouTube video directed at Emelianenko that has since been removed for violating their terms of service. Yeah, it's clear why. So my note before I read this following is that this guy, they're going to talk about Finkelstein, Vadim Finkelstein is Fedor's manager. So his brother Fedor's manager.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this Dotsic guy, this neo-Nazi MMA fighter says, "First of all, didn't you mix something up? Do you see a sportsman in me? I am not such. You wanted to show me what pain means? So you, rooster." Which apparently is a very nasty thing to say, calling someone a rooster. Oh, calling someone a dick? Yeah, sorry, you cut out a bit there. But yeah,
I said maybe it's like the equivalent of calling somebody a dick, but when it was translated, it was calling somebody a cock or something, and then that was translated to rooster.
I will ask my sister if she knows anything. I'll add it to the correction section or amendments I'm going to add at the end, and we'll add it as a fun fact there. Because yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those slang words maybe, because I know in parts of New Brunswick and the East Coast, if you call someone a goof, as in goofy, but without the Y, that is a real bad insult. And it's what? How did that come to be?
Oh, wow.
It is. I don't think that's a thing out here, right? In the West?
Because you could be like, you're such a goof.
No, people will say it that guy's a goof. A goof. And you're like, whoa.
For some reason. I'm sorry. That just reminded me of the movie Elf, the Christmas movie Elf, with cotton-headed Ninny Muggins.
Oh my god. I know, because it sounds very innocent.
He's a cotton-headed Ninny Muggins.
He's a cotton-headed. Some of the swear words that Pat's picked up from watching that, and when our daughter was younger, was saying things like Rumpelstiltskin instead of saying the F word.
Oh, wow.
Bill sometimes does it even when she's not in the room, and the fact that she's like 13 now and doesn't care, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you rooster. And then it says in brackets, homosexual. There might have been some other derogatory term. I don't know. Tell me your address and we will meet. And I don't see you being a sportsman either in the near future. I see you as a Jewish guy's hoe who licks Finkelstein's dick. And you're
All right.
awfully offensive.
I can see why YouTube said it violated their agreement.
Yeah, I tried to click on it. I could not watch it. And then I was like when I found this transcript of it, I was like, okay then. And they read it they read it out on the podcast too. Okay, I see you as a Jewish guy's hoe who licks Finkelstein's dick. And your tattoos, I see you have removed them. They were fake ones, huh? So your near future is being a sex slave in any prison. He may have had prison tattoos. Editor's note.
Okay.
And how people end up there, you know better. Your own homosexual / black friends. Pretty sure he didn't use that word or any nice word. Oh, it's in brackets, it's like referring with racist comment towards non-Russian people. Because this whole quote I obviously lifted right from the, not the Wikipedia article, but one of the articles that I'll put in my sources.
Okay. Yeah, you have to send me your sources and any pictures you want as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's pictures of this guy. Oh, yeah.
Good, because I only have like 2 pictures.
I think he probably looks just as you expect him to look.
Okay.
Okay. Big beefcake Russian. Yeah. So, and how people end up there, you know better. Your own homosexuals, black friends, will show you your spot in the prison, or save your spot. Maybe should be.
Oh.
I guess if you are such a Superman, so cool and a super fighter, and want to teach me something, just leave your address. You don't have to catch me. I will find you myself. So that's the translation of the video that the guy put up to call him out to a fight, this Datsik guy. But he didn't really take the bait. He just kind of brushed it off and said something like, oh, that guy's nuts. Like, he should be in jail, kind of thing.
Yeah, he sounds like he should be.
Yeah, and he did align with the whole
Nazi
movement. Yeah, the Russian nationalist stuff. So let's move on from that to something a little funner, which is Alexander's TV appearances.
Okay. Is he on was he on a matchmaking show like Flava Flav or like The Bachelor?
No, but the first one just was a Korean comedy show, so I don't know exactly what happened in that one.
I love that. That seems so random.
And then he did a Russian Channel 1's show called Big Races, where he fought a bull and he lost 2 teeth, and I don't know if that means he lost the fight. And he did do another sort of reality TV type show with other athletes, and it was called Olympic Village. And it starred Russian film and theater actor and TV presenter Yevgeny Siddikin. I think is how you pronounce that one.
Oh, okay.
Siddikin. Yeah. So we did do some spots. Oh, and then for lack of a better place to put it, he also loves hunting, and he once had an interview where he said he killed a bear by piercing it through its throat with a bear spear and then stabbing it in the heart with a knife, a traditional way of Russian bear hunting.
I love it. I'm happy that we had a bear hunting thing for Russia.
Go ahead.
It's such a stereotypical Russian thing, is being involved with bears in any capacity.
I know, polar bears. maybe some guns, maybe Putin hanging out with some guns and some tigers. One day I just looked through pictures of Putin doing the most badass looking things, and I'm like, no, you don't like him. He's a monster. He kills people that oppose him.
Yeah. And you're like, but there's him riding with a saddle, a bear.
Exactly. If we say we like Putin, do you think he'll let them listen to our podcast?
Yeah. There was I think it was an Instagram page or something. I can't quite remember. It just reminded me. I think it's Kim Jong-un or something, and it's him just pointing at things. So it's literally just an entire like page of him pointing at things. So it'll be like him pointing at a pool, him pointing at an escalator, because he does all these public appearances for like public things being like opened when they're like built.
Oh,
Like mayors and stuff do. Well, he does like all of these
ceremonies. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just pictures of him pointing and doing stuff. It's honestly great.
Okay, so he's not a bear. That's cool. I was gonna say I almost went down like a rabbit hole on the description of the different traditional Russian ways bear hunting, and like there was further more descriptive. I was like, I can't. That's good. Put that in there and leave it at that. Something might have involved a spoon and then stabbing the bear. I don't know. It sounds like a 2-step process. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you do something to the bear before you stab it. You spoon it.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to just go at that with one little weapon in mind.
With a spoon?
Yeah.
With a spork, maybe.
Hey, in Outlander, Claire once hit a bear with a big old fish. I think it was a trout.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
I know. They didn't do it for TV, but I think it would have been hard to do for TV.
Yeah. Bears getting hit in the face by fish that are jumping in rivers are hilarious.
Oh, nice.
I
And then,
love
like,
it.
they definitely didn't do it for the TV adaptation because then Jamie was supposed to, like, literally, like, wrestle the bear. And I was like, I guess that would be hard to film, huh?
Yeah.
They don't have CGI in that show. But anyway. So, apropos of nothing to do with bears, we'll go back to talking about how he fights.
Yeah.
He doesn't only win by punching his opponents into submission, he won something called the Pride Bushido 3 by defeating his opponent Australian Matt Folke via rear naked choke. My favorite.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Pride, that Pride Bushido 3 was Pride Fighting Championships, was a Japanese mixed martial arts promo company.
Oh,
Because it's a little confusing. It sounds like it's for like a pride parade or something we would refer to as something very different here.
yeah. Just
yeah.
on a parade float, MMA fighters just in the pride parade, just duking it out on a parade float.
But it was funny because they were making some jokes on that Crime in Sports one about how it does sound kind of gay when fighters talk. I'm gonna fuck that guy up. Like, it's just trying to get all over him and fuck him up. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Quick tangent. When I was in high school, we took an anthropology class, and in one of it, we watched a movie, and my teacher had to like cut through part of the movie because it was showing, I think it's like Greek or something, but like the oil wrestling, where it's tradition, like these guys oil each other up and they're just pretty much wearing underwear, and then when one of them wins, they're supposed to like put their hand in the other guy's underwear or something, but they're all oiled up and it's like slow motion fighting because they're so slick and like slippery with oil. And my teacher, teacher's like, oh, I always forget to cut out this part or skip this part, and they were just like, like, keep in mind it was in like grade 11 or 12, like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds like when I was like 12 and my dad rented the Pocahontas, but it was a live action one and it was way closer to the original story. There was
Oh my
sex and someone's hand got cut off.
jeez.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
All right, so back to Alexander. In 2003, he had moved from his hometown of Stary Oskal to St. Petersburg, where he met his future wife, Olga, which, if you recall, was his mother's
mom's
name.
Yeah.
Little Ron Swanson and Tammy thing going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll kind of get to more of that. He's got a thing. It's kind of weird. I don't know. He did marry Olga on the 4th of September 2004. So yeah, he married his wife that had the same name as his mama. I apologize. It's kind of all over the place. At one of his fights, Jean-Claude Van Damme was just hanging out in the arena, taking in the show with Putin. They were hanging out together.
Oh wow.
I thought that was interesting, but that's all I have about that. And then something else I thought was neat was on July 30th, 2007, he and his wife had their first child. I thought that was neat because that is a week after my child was born.
Oh, okay.
Like, aw. And I believe this is his first daughter, because he does have 2 children. I was able to confirm that, but for some reason, the information on his children and marriages is a little harder to find.
Oh,
That's
okay.
mostly because the stuff that's written about him is maybe like on a sports site, so it's more about his, prowess and fights and stuff. But
Yeah, not about like his marriage and children.
yeah, and on Wikipedia there was not a lot, and not a lot of the sources they used. I don't know, but anyway, in March of 2008, his brother Fedor was asked if his brother Alexander had ever been to jail. So back to the brothers and how they're doing. Fedor said, yeah, sure, he was given 5 years. He was convicted and given 5 years, but he only served about 3.5. He was then asked by the interviewer if that conviction was for a robbery charge. Fedor said, quote, there were many episodes. I don't want to stir up the past. He went on to say that the time in prison had changed his brother Alexander. And this is not the end of that feud. I didn't know where to put this because, again, not much information on the kids. At some point, he has a second child, which I looked up the pronunciation on, but it's still a difficult one. Her name was Kaysusha, I think.
Okay.
But so he's got 2 kids. And then at another point, he's supposed to have a match through a Polish promotional company called KSW. However, before this match could take place, they pulled the fight due to him supposedly having hepatitis C.
Okay. So now that's 2 fights he's been pulled out of.
And 2 different hepatitises he's been accused of having, actually.
Oh.
Because first time it was 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So Emelianenko was pissed about this announcement because they said that was the reason, whereas the other one in California hadn't,
Oh, yeah.
the rumors. But I believe this one was like, no, that's why he's been pulled. So he demanded the company apologize to him. Again, I'm not sure why, because this seems to be a different promotional company, but on August 10th, 2010, another Polish MMA promo company called Strata Walk, they made his medical tests public. Like, they had a press conference and they held up a piece of paper and they said, these are his medical records and he's good to go. And other than that, they never let those be independently verified or anything like that. They just said, that's that. Oh yeah, had their first child. Oh, and he's fighting his brother, and then he was accused of having hep C. Then he was good. So that company that said he was good to go booked him to fight a guy named Alistair Overeem, but days later that guy took to Twitter and said, nah, brah, I'm not going to fight that guy. So that didn't happen. But he didn't stop fighting completely. He went on to fight an Australian kickboxer named Peter Graham on the 18th of December 2010. He was beaten by TKO, he being Alexander, that is, was beaten by TKO in the second round. Graham had delivered a series of kicks that had taken Alexander down.
Yeah, because he's not a kicker.
He's not good once you kick him down, he's no good.
Yeah.
And then in June 2012, a fight with Ibragim Magomedov was stopped by a doctor, and Magomedov was told by the doctor he would never fight again.
Oh.
Stop, just don't get back up. I think he had been at it a long time, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
So at one point, Alexander gets belligerent on a flight to a competition. He gets totally wasted on the plane. He's asking for more alcohol after he's been denied it. He lit up a cigarette and started smoking on board. And this is in the 2000s, so it's not allowed anymore.
Yeah.
And finally, he starts beating up random passengers.
Oh my God.
So upon landing, he is arrested for disturbance on the aircraft. He was then fired from the company he'd been working for, M1 Global. But he denied all these allegations, of course. It was all just fake news or whatever.
Yeah, there's only I don't know, at least 120 people on the plane that you attempted to fight.
Yeah, that I've seen. You are our witnesses.
Jesus. You should have just locked him in the bathroom. Zip tied him to the chair. I would have loved to see that.
Yeah,
Like,
so there's no
stewardess zip tying him to a chair.
Yeah, maybe that's why they have what are they called? Air marshals now? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I said there was no murder. I didn't say he didn't get up to some crappy
I was
stuff.
gonna say, this is we need some true crime here.
Okay, we'll get to it. You'll be sorry you asked that, all right?
Okay.
So he later arrives at an MMA school to give a speech to students there, and he is completely drunk again. He gives a slurred speech and addresses the students. So he's just kind of becoming a bit of a hot mess.
Yeah.
So he tries to keep a lower profile, I think, at this point, because later in a few months he's going to announce that he's coming out of retirement, quote unquote. And at some point, it's unclear when to me, but he divorces his first wife, Olga. The next fun thing he gets in trouble for is holding two women against their will in his apartment.
Oh my God, this dude is an asshole.
He's got testosterone poisoning and nowhere to put all this energy.
Yeah, where's Madame Popova? Kill him.
I know. Couldn't she have stayed alive a few years longer?
112 years. Or 104 years.
She could be a witch or a time traveler.
Not a
Not a witch. So he holds two women against their will in his apartment. He apparently raped one of them, according to the women. But once police found out that they were sex workers, he got off by claiming she was just trying to extort more money out of him for said sex work.
Oh my God.
So the police didn't bring any charges to him or anything.
That's stupid.
Yeah. He goes to a Greek monastery for a while to cool off, live a life of more routine and stuff. He really wants to find some grace again. He did well there for a while, getting up at 5 a.m., working with the monks and stuff like that. And then he says a Russian high priest convinced him to come back to the MMA. He gets a new tattoo that says, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me as a sinner. To go with his prison tats, you know?
Oh my god. And his rap sheet.
Yeah. He has a big comeback fight with a guy named Bob Sapp. One night he's hanging with some ladies at a bar when he hears some drunk guys saying inappropriate things about and to these ladies. So Alexander got offended and he decided to defend their honor. The
Oh,
Grim
now
Reaper will defend you.
now he's a defender of women. Oh my god.
That's right. First, he's gonna rape some sex workers. Now he's probably hanging out with more sex workers, and he's gonna be like, "I'm gonna stick up for you in public."
But behind closed doors, I'm gonna kidnap you and hold you against your will.
Yes. More on that.
Oh my god.
He goes over. I'm almost done. He goes over to tell them off. Chairs are thrown. He proceeds to beat the shit out of this group of guys. Not sure how many, but like group.
Yeah, well, he's an MMA fighter, and they're probably just drunken dudes in a bar.
They're idiots, I have to say, as well.
Yeah, they obviously didn't know who he was.
The police were like, "Oh, you were trying to be defending them and being good, so we'll just escort you home and like you're fine. You beat up the bad guys this time. No charges for you."
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, more kidnapping.
Oh my god.
He has a regular cleaning lady that was off for like the week or whatever, so he had a substitute come in. Her name was Polina Stepanova. Polina was one of his daughter's names, if you recall. So while she's in his apartment, he goes into her purse and steals her passport so she can't leave. He then forces her to do drugs and engage in sexual acts as well.
This dude has a weird thing. First it was his mom marrying a woman with his mom's name. Now he's sleeping with women with his daughter's name. Like,
it's kind of gross.
Yeah, it's just too much. He's too much.
Raping, gross. Daughter's name, grosser.
Yeah.
He was accused of raping her on the 2nd of May, 2014. He pleaded. I don't know why I always see pleaded now and not pled. I don't know when we changed that. But anyway, I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. He pleaded not guilty and he claimed the sex was consensual.
Lady's just trying to come there and clean your house and you stole her passport like a psycho.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sounds very consensual. So, yeah, finally, though, on the 19th of May, 2015, Emelianenko was found guilty of sexual assault. He was found guilty of sexual assault. He was sentenced to 4.5. Why did I say it like that? Damn it, I knew I shouldn't write it that way. He was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison and $1,000 US fine.
How much did he make in his fights? Those dudes make millions.
Who knows, right?
$1,000. Oh my god.
And 4.5. He did not fully serve the full sentence.
Of course he didn't.
I fully fucked up that sentence. No. According to some websites like bloodyelbow.com, they say he got married while in custody to a lady named, get ready, Polina.
Oh my god, no!
And I read that she proposed to him while he's in custody for sexual assault charges.
Against a woman named Polina? That's his daughter's name?
Yeah, she said, quote, "I did not give to talk with Alexander following the announcement of the verdict, but I think he is in a depressed state. He has all his things there. I can to visit him on short-term and long-term visits and to write letters. Thank God it is possible to correspond with the help of the internet." She vehemently protested the guilty verdict. She was like, all you guys got is this chick's words that, it's his word against her word. He said, she said.
Oh my god.
And yeah, I guess she got together with him then. So then he tried to appeal, it failed, but he got out in October 2016 anyway, after only serving about 17 months. Then he lays low for a time until a cop tries to tow his illegally parked car. I'm sorry, this is my favorite. There's a YouTube video, people.
Really?
He saw them. Yes.
Oh my God. We'll put a link to it on the website.
He saw them trying to tow his car. He races over to it, gets in, and locks himself inside. They put his car on the tow truck anyway, and he drove off the tow truck.
Yes.
But somehow, because he had been parallel parked before, he was still stuck between two cars. So then he's like driving forward and hitting one car, and then backing up and hitting the other car. And they even on the Crime and Sports, they're like, like Austin Powers style. And I was like, yes, in the video when he's in that long ass people mover vehicle, and he's just like bam, bam,
yes.
Bam.
It's like a cartoon. I love it. Yeah.
Except instead of being in a little mover vehicle, he was in a golden Mercedes.
Yes. Oh my God. We're putting this link on our website. I'm gonna watch it so many times.
I was just like, oh man. This is gold, Jerry Gold.
In his gold Mercedes, and he's like, bam, bam, bam.
And that is because he's the most flaming, smoking Russian hot mess. But Putin's a fan, and that is my case.
I love it. Oh,
I love it too.
What a note to end on him. That's amazing.
It brings us up after a little more uplifting after the many, many murders of your case.
Yes. Which I wish I could have gotten the details for even a single one of them. But there was literally nothing.
We just talked a lot about murder and then a whole lot of Russian fighting, I guess. Oh man. But yeah, join us next time for episode 7, which is dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, haunted castles.
Yes. For our name, Castles and Cryptids. We're finally gonna cover haunted castles.
We are creepy castles, then another true crime, then doing a cryptids, and we are pumped.
And there'll be another Patreon exclusive in there too. So join our Patreon, and then by that point you get 2 bonus episodes.
That's true.
Yeah.
And technically 3 if you count. There's an episode up there of our bloopers right now.
Which I've never listened to. I don't know what you included in the bloopers. I have no idea.
Join our Patreon.
I can't. We already discussed this. I can't view our content.
I know, you'll have to pay. You'll have to pay.
I guess I can listen to it on Anchor. I'm not being our first Patreon member.
That might be a little sad.
I'll give us $1 or $2.50 a month just so I can listen to our own content.
And you'll get 30 cents back from it or something. All right. Catch us next time.
Yes. Bye-bye. This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, and Pocket Casts. Our episodes are also uploaded to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers. Become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. You can also take our poll and let us know what kind of bonus content you'd like to see in the future. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes, as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Our music is by Kobe Off Air. Thanks for listening.
Hey guys, Alanna here. Just a PS, as it were, a postscriptum, which works in this case. For episode 6, the Russian crimes, I did talk to my Russian advisor, that is my sister, and I wanted to update the pronunciation for Fyodor, because apparently it's like the Russian Theodore. So I was pronouncing that a little incorrectly. And it is Stary Oskol or something to that effect. It's not Stary. That is my 2 corrections there. She confirmed that when the Vich is involved in the middle name, it does denote, yeah, it's like you got that from your dad, or for the women, it's Ovna, I think is the ending. And also that, yes, rooster is an insult, probably, she guesses, because things like puppy are an insult, because a puppy is, well, cute and everything, as we all know, untrained and kind of pissing all over the place. So that was neat. And other than that, I think I forgot to mention, because again, his marriages, Emelianenko, according to one thing I read, married Paulina twice. So divorced her at some point, married her again. That I think I've only seen in movies or TV, because it makes me think of, well, the Tammy that Ron, I think, married twice. And then also it comes up in Oz when Chris Maloney's character marries one girl twice. I think her name's Bonnie. Ressa will correct me. I forgot to ask her that. If you care, just Google it. Whatever. I don't know. Watch the show. It's good. But then watch us next time. All right. Lana out.